Have you ever looked at a super smart AI like Gemini and thought, man, I wish it could do more than just chat? Well, today we're going to talk about the key to unlocking its real power. We're turning it from just a thinker into a doer. All right, let's get into it.
I mean, really think about it. For all their brain power, doesn't it feel like most LLMs are kind of stuck? It's like having this absolute genius, but they're locked in a room. They can give you amazing answers on notes you slide under the door, but that's it. Their ability to interact with the world just stops right there.
And this slide right here just nails that problem. On the left, that's your standard LLM. It's basically a brain in a jar, you know? Its knowledge is frozen in time and it can't actually do anything. But on the right, now that's what we're talking about. A connected LLM, one that can tap into live data, use other programs, and actually get stuff done for us.
So the big question is, how do we get from that brain in a jar to an AI that can actually help out? How do we unlock that box? Well, the answer is something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short. This is pretty much the key that opens the whole thing up.
Okay, so what is MCP, really? Let's cut through the tech speak. It's just a common language, a set of rules that lets an AI like Gemini talk securely and smoothly with all the other software and tools out there in the world, outside of its own little bubble.
You know, the best way to think about it is like a universal translator, or maybe a super secure bridge. See, Gemini speaks its language, and your calendar app or the stock market, they all speak different languages. MCP sits right in the middle, translating everything back and forth so they can all work together like one big, awesome team. And what happens when you build that bridge? Well, it's a huge upgrade for the AI. Suddenly, it's not just a place you go for information, it becomes a command center for getting things done. It can grab live data, talk to tons of different services through their APIs, and actually make things happen in the real world. Okay, so that's the what and the why. You're probably thinking, all right, that sounds amazing, but how hard is it to actually set up? So let's just walk through the basic roadmap. Don't worry, we're not diving into code here, just the big picture. It really comes down to these 3 steps. First, you just define your tools. You decide exactly what you want Gemini to be able to use. Maybe it's a simple weather service or your entire project management system. Second, you build the server that acts as that translator for those specific tools. And third, you connect that new server to Gemini, and bam, you've handed over the keys.
And here's the most important part to remember. When you do this, you're not just giving the AI more data, you are giving it a serious upgrade. You're giving it eyes and ears to see what's happening right now in the world, and you're giving it hands to actually go out and do things.
And this, my friends, is where it gets really, really cool. What can a supercharged Gemini actually do? Let's check out some of its new superpowers, because this is where we go from just talking to taking action. Right off the bat, the AI is no longer stuck in the past. You can ask it for stuff that's changing every second. Hey, what's Google's stock price right now? Give me the weather forecast for Miami for the next 3 days, starting this afternoon. It can just reach out, grab that live data, and give you a real-time answer. It's amazing. But this is where it becomes a total game changer. Getting information is one thing, but taking action, that's a whole other level. You can now just tell Gemini, find a free 30-minute spot on my calendar with Dave tomorrow and book a meeting, or draft an email to the team about the project update and send it. The AI just became your personal assistant.
I mean, that's already incredible, right? But the source material points out one more power-up that takes this from just being productive to being flat-out creative.
Yep, you heard that right. By connecting Gemini to a video tool using MCP, you could just say, generate a 10-second clip of a hummingbird flying in slow motion. The AI doesn't just describe it, it actually creates it for you. Wow.
Now, for all of you developers watching who are already thinking about how you'd build this, the source material has a little pro tip that's going to make this whole thing way easier and honestly a lot more fun.
So this is a direct shout out to check out something called GenKit. It's basically a toolkit that's designed to make building these AI-powered apps way simpler. It handles a lot of the boring, repetitive stuff for you so you can focus on the cool part, what you actually want your AI to do. So, we have covered a ton of ground, haven't we? We started with this idea of a super smart but stuck AI, and we've walked through how the Model Context Protocol can unlock it, turning it from a chatbot into a real agent that can get things done. Let's just sit with that for a second. The big takeaway here is that this is more than just a cool new feature. It's a fundamental change. This is about closing the gap between having a conversation and taking action. We're moving from an AI you just ask questions to an AI you can actually delegate tasks to.
And that brings us to the most important question of all, the one I have for you. Now that you know how to let the AI out of the box, to give it tools, live data, and the power to act for you, what are you going to build? What problems are you going to solve? The possibilities are just massive, and really, we're just getting started.